The incredible life of Tom Cruise, from struggling kid to Hollywood legend. Imagine being told, you'll never make it, you'll never succeed in school, you'll never become anything special. Now imagine proving every single person wrong and becoming one of the biggest movie stars in history. This is the incredible story of Tom Cruise, a man who didn't just act in impossible missions, he lived one. Before he was flying fighter jets, hanging from airplanes, or becoming one of Hollywood's biggest stars, he was just a young boy trying to find his place in the world. Tom Cruise was born on July 3, 1962, in Syracuse, New York. His real name wasn't Tom Cruise. It was Thomas Cruise Mapother IV. His family wasn't rich, far from it. His father frequently changed jobs, and the family moved from place to place. By the time Tom was a teenager, he had attended around 15 different schools. Imagine trying to make friends, only to leave them behind again and again. But changing schools wasn't the hardest part. Tom struggled with something he didn't understand. Words on the page seemed to move. Reading took much longer than it did for other children. Teachers often assumed he wasn't trying hard enough. Classmates thought he wasn't smart. The truth was different. Tom had dyslexia. At the time, very few people understood the condition. He later described feeling frustrated and embarrassed because he knew he could do more, but couldn't show it in the classroom. Instead of feeling confident, he constantly felt like he was falling behind. Life at home wasn't easy either. His father was known to be strict. Tom has described him as someone who could be intimidating and unpredictable. The family faced financial difficulties, and stability was hard to find. When Tom was around 12 years old, his parents divorced. His mother became the family's main source of support. Despite everything they faced, she encouraged her children to keep believing that a better future was possible. Those difficult years would shape Tom's determination for the rest of his life. As a teenager, acting wasn't even part of his plan. In fact, for a short time, Tom seriously considered becoming a Catholic priest. He attended a seminary and thought a life of faith might be his calling. But that path didn't last long. After returning to school, he joined a drama class almost by accident. Everything changed. For the first time, he discovered a place where his dyslexia didn't define him. On stage, he didn't have to be the struggling student. He could become anyone. He later said that acting gave him confidence he had never felt before. It wasn't just performing, it was freedom. That single decision would change his life forever. At just 18 years old, Tom made a choice that sounded impossible to almost everyone around him. He packed his belongings, moved to New York City, and decided to become an actor. No guarantee, no famous family, no connections, just a dream. He gave himself 10 years to succeed. If acting didn't work, he promised himself he'd find another career. During those early years, he attended audition after audition. Most ended the same way. No, no, not this time. But Tom refused to quit. Every rejection became another reason to work harder. He wasn't waiting for someone to discover him. He was determined to earn his chance. One day, that chance finally arrived. A small role in the 1981 film Endless Love opened the first door. It wasn't a starring role. Most people in the audience barely noticed him, but Hollywood did. Directors saw something special. The energy, the confidence, the determination. More opportunities followed. Then, everything changed in 1983. A movie called Risky Business. One unforgettable scene, Tom Cruise dancing in socks across a living room, became one of the most iconic moments in movie history. Overnight, a young actor with a dream became one of Hollywood's brightest new stars. The success of Risky Business changed everything. For the first time, Hollywood wasn't asking, "Who is Tom Cruise?" It was asking, "How do we get him into our next movie?" Producers saw more than just a handsome young actor. They saw someone who worked harder than almost anyone else. Tom wasn't satisfied with simply memorizing lines. He studied every scene. He questioned every detail. He wanted every performance to feel real. That dedication quickly separated him from other rising stars. But no one, not even Tom himself, could have predicted what would happen next. In 1986, a movie called Top Gun hit theaters. Tom Cruise played a fearless young fighter pilot named Maverick. The film had fast jets, high-speed action, and unforgettable music. Audiences loved it. Almost overnight, Tom Cruise became one of the biggest stars on Earth. People copied his sunglasses, his leather jacket, even his hairstyle. Military recruitment reportedly increased after the film's release, with many people inspired by the movie's portrayal of naval aviators. For Tom, there was no turning back. He had officially become a global superstar. But fame brought pressure. Many actors become trapped after one successful role. Tom refused to let that happen. Instead of making the same movie again and again, he chose completely different characters. In Rain Man, he starred alongside Dustin Hoffman in a heartfelt story about two brothers. The film won the Academy Award for Best Picture. Critics praised Tom for proving he could do much more than action films. Then came Born on the 4th of July. He transformed himself into a Vietnam War veteran. The emotional performance earned him his first Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. People who once thought he was only an action hero suddenly realized he was one of Hollywood's finest actors. The 1990s became one of the greatest decades of his career. One blockbuster followed another. A Few Good Men, where he stood opposite Jack Nicholson in one of cinema's most famous courtroom scenes. "You can't handle the truth." The line became legendary. Then came Jerry Maguire, a story about ambition, failure, and finding what truly matters. The film gave the world unforgettable moments. "Show me the money," "You complete me," and another Academy Award nomination. Tom Cruise wasn't simply making successful movies. He was creating cultural moments people would remember for decades. Then, in 1996, he took the biggest risk of his career. Instead of only acting, he became a producer. Many people warned him against it. Producing meant risking his own money, his own reputation, his own future. But Tom believed in one project more than any other, a television series from the 1960s called Mission Impossible. Most people expected it to fail. Instead, it became one of the biggest action franchises in movie history, and Tom Cruise became known for something no one expected: doing his own stunts. At first, the stunts were relatively simple, running across rooftops, jumping between buildings. But every movie, the challenges became bigger, more dangerous, more impossible. Tom wasn't interested in pretending. He wanted audiences to believe every second. That belief would eventually push him to attempt stunts that many professionals considered impossible. And some even believed one mistake could cost him his life. By the late 1990s, Tom Cruise had already achieved what most actors could only dream of. He was one of the highest-paid stars in Hollywood. His movies earned billions of dollars. His name alone could fill movie theaters around the world. Most actors would have played it safe. Tom Cruise did the opposite. He decided that if audiences were going to believe his movies, they needed to feel real. Not computer-generated, not fake, real. That decision changed action movies forever. During the filming of Mission Impossible 2, Tom climbed cliffs himself. No stunt double, no safety net visible on camera. Crew members watched in silence. One wrong move could have ended everything. But Tom believed fear was something you prepared for, not something you avoided. That became his philosophy. If a stunt looked impossible, he trained until it became possible. Then came one of the most unforgettable moments in movie history. Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol. Tom wasn't standing on a movie set. He was standing on the outside of the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, more than 2,700 feet above the ground. Only a specially designed safety system protected him. Even experienced crew members admitted they were terrified. Strong winds pushed against the building. Every movement had to be perfect. When audiences watched the finished scene, many assumed it had been created with computer effects. It wasn't. Tom Cruise had actually climbed the tallest building on Earth. That single stunt became one of the defining moments of his career. But he wasn't finished. For Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation, Tom insisted on hanging from the side of a real military aircraft during takeoff. Not a model, not green screen, a real airplane. The aircraft accelerated down the runway. The engines roared. Within seconds, Tom Cruise was thousands of feet above the ground. He repeated the stunt multiple times to get the perfect shot. Crew members later admitted they could hardly breathe while watching. Most actors stopped there. Tom Cruise went even further. For Mission Impossible, Fallout, he wanted to perform a halo jump, a high-altitude, low-opening parachute jump, the kind used by elite military special forces. It required jumping from around 25,000 feet, traveling at incredible speed, opening the parachute only seconds before landing. To prepare, Tom completed hundreds of training jumps, night after night, week after week. When filming finally began, he became one of the first actors ever to perform a real halo jump on camera. No visual tricks, just months of preparation and absolute commitment. Then came the stunt many people believed would never be approved. Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning. Tom Cruise would ride a motorcycle straight off the edge of a massive cliff. No bridge, no hidden platform, nothing beneath him except open air. At the last possible second, he would release the bike and deploy a parachute. To make the stunt look effortless, he trained for over a year. Thousands of motocross jumps, hundreds of skydives, every movement repeated until it became instinct. On filming day, there were no second chances. One mistake could have been fatal. The cameras rolled, the motorcycle accelerated. Tom reached the edge and disappeared into the sky. For a brief moment, the crew couldn't see him. Then, a white parachute opened. The entire crew erupted into applause. They knew they had just witnessed movie history. Yet perhaps the most remarkable part of Tom Cruise's career isn't the stunts. It's his mindset. Every director who has worked with him describes the same quality: preparation. He studies relentlessly. He arrives early. He asks questions. He pushes himself harder than anyone expects, not because someone tells him to, because he believes audiences deserve the very best. That relentless commitment has kept him at the top of Hollywood for more than 4 decades. In an industry where many careers fade after a few successful films, Tom Cruise continues to lead some of the biggest movies in the world. By the early 2020s, Tom Cruise had already accomplished almost everything an actor could dream of. Blockbuster movies, critical acclaim, worldwide fame. Yet, he wasn't interested in slowing down. While many actors began relying heavily on computer-generated effects, Tom continued pushing for real action. He believed audiences deserved to feel every explosion, every chase, every heartbeat. Then came a film that many believed would never succeed: Top Gun: Maverick. More than 3 decades had passed since the original movie. Hollywood had changed. Streaming platforms were dominating. Some people wondered if movie theaters were losing their magic. Tom Cruise believed otherwise. He insisted the film should be experienced on the biggest screen possible. The production took years. The actors didn't simply pretend to fly fighter jets. They underwent intense training to withstand real G-forces. Many became sick during their first flights. Tom had already prepared himself for the challenge. His goal wasn't just to make another sequel. He wanted to create an experience audiences would never forget. When Top Gun: Maverick finally premiered, the reaction shocked Hollywood. Critics praised it, fans loved it, movie theaters around the world were packed. The film earned nearly $1.5 billion at the global box office, becoming the highest-grossing movie of Tom Cruise's career. It also received multiple Academy Award nominations, showing that even after decades in the industry, he could still deliver one of the biggest films in the world. But success was never the most interesting part of Tom Cruise's journey. His greatest achievement wasn't money, it wasn't fame, it wasn't even the stunts. It was consistency. For over 40 years, he woke up with the same goal, to become better than he was yesterday. While trends changed, technology evolved, and entire generations of actors came and went, Tom Cruise continued doing what he loved. One movie at a time, one impossible challenge after another. People often ask, why does Tom Cruise still perform dangerous stunts? The answer isn't because he has to, it's because he wants audiences to experience something real. He once explained that preparation removes fear. The more prepared you become, the more confident you are when the moment arrives. That philosophy applies far beyond filmmaking. It applies to life. Think back to the young boy who struggled to read, the teenager who constantly changed schools, the kid who was told he wasn't good enough. No one looking at that child could have predicted what would happen next. There were no guarantees, no shortcuts, no famous family opening doors, just determination, discipline, and a refusal to quit. That is what transformed Thomas Cruise Mapother IV into Tom Cruise. Today, his films have earned billions of dollars. His name is recognized in almost every country on earth. He has inspired generations of actors, filmmakers, stunt performers, and dreamers. But perhaps the greatest lesson from his story has nothing to do with Hollywood. It's this: your beginning doesn't decide your ending. You can struggle in school, face rejection, experience failure, hear people tell you that your dream is impossible, and still rewrite your story, because success rarely belongs to the most talented. It usually belongs to the people who refuse to give up. So the next time you watch Tom Cruise sprint across a rooftop, leap from a cliff, or hang from an airplane thousands of feet above the ground, remember, you're not just watching an action star. You're watching someone who spent a lifetime proving that impossible is often just another word for not yet. Thank you for watching. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments which Tom Cruise movie is your all-time favorite. Because every legend has a story, and this one is still being written.